Well, hello. My name is David Copeland, and I am the State Director for Convention of States Action here in Kansas, and I'm speaking to you from my home in Overland Park. Today is February 17th, 2020, President's Day. Today, in Virginia, the Senate rejected the governor's attempt to outlaw semi-automatic rifles and high-capacity magazines, and that's a very good thing. It just so happens that here in the state of Kansas, we were having a Second Amendment rally on the steps of the Capitol in Topeka, and I was invited to address that rally, and looking forward to that. And as I got to the rally, I met the organizer, and they advised me that I was not going to be allowed to speak. As it turns out, the sponsor of the rally, a legislator from southeast Kansas, state representative, had decided that my First Amendment rights were inferior to his, and I would not be allowed to speak. In fact, if the organizers allowed me to speak, he would not allow the rally to go on. So I understand. They were in a pickle. So I decided to come home and make a video of my address and share it with possibly more people than would have heard it on the grounds of the Capitol. As it turns out, there were less than 100 souls there at that rally, and no media coverage that I could see. So this is probably a better venue than the rally itself. So I'm going to give you my address, and we'll see where it goes. We're here today to make clear our intention to defend our right to keep and bear arms. But we're in a much greater battle. There are many in this country who are threatened by our rights as free, self-governing men. And they don't just want our guns, they want our liberty. They don't just want our guns, they want our property. They don't just want our guns, they want our lives as free men. We're in a battle for who we are as Americans. We're in a battle to define the role of government in this country. Our Declaration makes clear that the purpose of government is to secure our inalienable rights. Does our government exist to protect our rights or to give us our rights? Now, losing this battle is much more than face value. If we lose this battle, we lose much more than the right to defend ourselves or our families. If we lose this battle, the light of liberty will go out for people around the world struggling to resist tyrants. When the people of Hong Kong or Caracas or Tehran go to the streets to throw off the tyranny that threatens or actually enslaves them, they don't wave the Union Jack, they don't wave the tricolors of France or Russia. There's only one red, white, and blue flag that is waved around the world as a symbol of freedom and hope by those enslaved by tyrants, and that is the flag that flies here over my head over Chief's Kingdom. Isn't it ironic that while people around the world look at America as the ideal for individual liberty, we have forces here attempting to nullify our most sacred freedoms? The Declaration defines our unalienable rights as those entitled to us by nature's God, as natural law. Among those is self-preservation or self-defense. It is the first law of nature. This law of self-preservation came with the fall of man, and it was necessary. So now we live in a fallen world with evil men who do not respect the Creator. We have forces in this country who are threatened by self-governed free men. They prefer to exchange our liberty for their comfort, and they're delusional. We will not surrender our unalienable rights. As we battle to protect our God-given rights, we must recognize that those rights do not come from a buffet line from which we can choose those that we want and discard those that we don't. The laws of nature and nature's God are clear about our responsibility as God's people. Not only are we to worship God, but we are to love our brother as ourselves. John Adams wrote that our Constitution was made only for a moral and religious people. It is wholly inadequate to the government of any other. The founders knew that our unalienable rights of life, liberty, and property come with an obligation to live worthy of those rights. Self-government is about our ability to live a regulated life without external authority. We've got plenty of external authority in this country. The so-called progressives have taken religion and prayer from our schools. Through misguided public policy, they've enabled and encouraged broken families. Our schools seem to avoid virtue and have replaced it with relativism and sexism rather than teach patriotic values and science. The progressive schools teach perversion and pseudoscience. People today have never been so illiterate or lacking religious formation. Our progressive society cannot govern by the consent of the governed because they have replaced natural law with a government of laws made by men. The progressives want to create laws for everything, and for the most part they've succeeded. The more laws they create, the more crimes are committed, to such an extent that the prisons are bursting. Laws against murder cannot stop a murderer, but God's Spirit dwelling in the heart of a man can. The progressives define a child in the womb not as a person, and abortion is not the taking of life. They attempt to prevent murder with words of unelected judges. In the same way, the progressives are attempting to prevent murder with laws that make weapons illegal and law-abiding citizens the criminals. They're nullifying the law of self-defense, which actually allows self-governing citizens to prevent a murder. This is why we need to stay in the battle for the proper role of government. The government that thinks they give us our rights is the government that will take them away. The founders gave us a way to limit the role of government and protect our unalienable rights and to not usurp them by unnecessary laws or misinterpretation of our founding documents. That is what Convention of States is endeavoring to do using Article 5. This is the amendments article of the Constitution. We use it to bring about those amendments that will return our government to the enumerated powers. I ask you to consider joining our grassroots army of patriots to help us make this happen. Go to conventionofstates.com and sign the petition. So, one day, my king will return. On that day, my king will reign in the hearts of all men. On that day, I will have no need of locks on my doors or guns in my house. On that day, all things will be made new. But until that day, as God gives me breath, I will stand with you to protect our rights for us and for the generations to come. Thank you for watching. Share this, and may God bless you.